I stayed quiet on the phone because my hands were shaking too badly to hold it steady. The man on the other end said his name was Robert Chen, and he'd gotten my number from an old business directory. He said he needed to warn me about something urgent, about someone I trusted. "Mr. Harrison," he said, his voice low and careful. "I don't know how to tell you this, but that financial advisor your son introduced you to, Marcus Webb, he's not who he says he is. And you need to be very, very careful. Don't sign anything he gives you. Don't tell your son I called. Just, please, be careful." Before I could ask what he meant, the line went dead. I stood there in my kitchen, the phone still pressed to my ear, staring at the calendar on the wall. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks since Sarah's funeral. 3 weeks since I'd buried my wife of 42 years. And now some stranger was calling to tell me my son was putting me in danger. My name is David Harrison. I'm 68 years old, a retired mechanical engineer, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. Sarah and I had built a good life in Portland, Oregon. We had our home, our savings, our retirement plan. Our son Jason lived about 20 minutes away with his wife, Emily. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. The house was paid off, worth about $600,000 in this market. We had around $400,000 in retirement accounts and another $100,000 in savings, enough to live on, travel a little, help the grandkids with college someday. But then Sarah got sick. Pancreatic cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to the end. I still couldn't quite believe she was gone. Jason had been attentive, maybe too attentive. At first, I'd been grateful. After Sarah died, I felt like I was moving through fog. Everything was hard. Getting out of bed, making coffee, remembering to eat. The house felt enormous and empty without her. Her reading glasses were still on the nightstand, her gardening gloves by the back door. I couldn't bring myself to move anything. Jason started coming by every day. "Just checking on you, Dad," he'd say. He'd bring groceries, make sure I was eating, help with bills and paperwork. Sarah had always handled most of that. I could design a suspension system or troubleshoot a manufacturing process, but she was the one who remembered to pay the electric bill on time. Then, about 2 weeks after the funeral, Jason brought someone with him. "Dad, this is Marcus Webb," he said. "He's a financial advisor I know through work. I thought maybe he could help you get organized. You know, with all of Mom's accounts and everything, make sure you're set up for the long term." Marcus was in his early 40s, with expensive-looking glasses and a firm handshake. He wore a suit that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. He spoke in that smooth, confident way that professional salespeople have. He called me sir and expressed his condolences about Sarah with just the right amount of gravity. "Mr. Harrison, I know this is a difficult time," he said, sitting at my kitchen table with a leather portfolio. "But it's crucial that we make sure your assets are properly protected. At your age, you need someone who can help manage these decisions. Medical emergencies, market volatility, estate planning. It can be overwhelming, especially when you're grieving. At my age." Something about that phrase bothered me, but I was too tired to argue. Over the next week, Marcus came by 3 more times, always with Jason. They'd ask questions. "Dad, have you been forgetting things? Where you put your keys? What day of the week it is?" Jason would share concerned looks with Marcus. He forgot he already took his blood pressure medication yesterday. Took it twice. And last week, he left the stove on. That wasn't true. I hadn't left the stove on. But Jason said it so confidently, with such worry in his voice, that I started questioning myself. Had I? Was my memory getting worse? Sarah used to joke that I'd forget my own head if it wasn't attached. Was it more than jokes now? Marcus started talking about power of attorney. "It's just a precaution, Mr. Harrison. So if anything happens, if you end up in the hospital or need help managing things, Jason can step in. It's responsible planning." He had papers, professional-looking documents with legal letterhead. "Just a few signatures," he kept saying. "We'll get everything set up properly." But something made me hesitate. Maybe it was the engineer in me. I'd spent my career checking calculations, verifying specifications, never accepting anything without testing it first. Something about this felt rushed. Why the urgency? Why was Marcus so insistent? I told them I wanted to think about it, talk to my own lawyer first. Jason's face changed for just a second. Something hard flickered in his eyes. Then he smiled. Of course, Dad. Take your time. We just want to make sure you're protected. But after they left, I noticed Marcus had accidentally left some papers on my kitchen table, copies of forms. I glanced at them. There were checkboxes about cognitive capacity, questions about memory problems, confusion, inability to manage finances independently. All the boxes were checked yes. I hadn't checked those boxes. I hadn't filled out anything. That was when the strange calls started. Marcus would phone in the evening. Just checking in, Mr. Harrison. How are you feeling? Any confusion today? Trouble remembering things? The questions felt like tests, like he was building a record of something. Then Robert Chen called. I didn't know what to do with his warning. I tried to look up Marcus Webb online. I found a website, professional looking, licensed financial advisor, testimonials. But when I looked closer, the website had only been registered 6 months ago. The address listed was a UPS store mailbox. I started paying attention differently. When Jason came by the next day, I watched him. Really watched him. Hey, Dad, he said, letting himself in with the key I'd given him. How are you feeling today? Fine, I said. Good, actually. Feeling pretty clear-headed. Something crossed his face. Disappointment? Really? Because Emily said when she called yesterday, you sounded confused about what day it was. Emily didn't call yesterday, I said carefully. She did, Dad, around 3 o'clock. You don't remember? I was certain she hadn't. I'd been working in the garage all afternoon, organizing Sarah's gardening tools. The phone hadn't rung once, but Jason said it with such certainty. He pulled out his phone, showed me Emily's call log. There it was. A 3-minute call to my number, time-stamped 3:17 p.m. yesterday. Maybe I didn't hear it ring, I said slowly. Jason nodded, concerned. Maybe we should get your hearing checked too. These things add up, Dad. Memory issues, not hearing the phone. Marcus was saying that sometimes these are early warning signs. After he left, I checked my phone. No missed calls from Emily's number. Not in the log, not in the recent calls list. So how did her phone show she'd called me? I called Emily directly. Hey, did you try to call me yesterday? Yesterday? No. Why? Jason said you did. Around 3. There was a pause. No, I was in a meeting all afternoon. My phone was on silent. I definitely didn't call you. Thanks, honey. After we hung up, I sat in my recliner, thinking. Jason had faked the call log somehow. To make me doubt myself. To build evidence that I was confused, forgetful. But why? I thought about the papers Marcus had left. The checked boxes about cognitive decline, about Robert Chen's warning, about Marcus's aggressive push for power of attorney. And then I understood. They were building a case to declare me incompetent, to get control of my accounts, my house, everything Sarah and I had worked 45 years to build. My son was trying to steal my life savings. I felt physically sick. I went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. The man in the mirror looked older than I remembered. Gray hair, tired eyes, lines around my mouth that Sarah used to trace with her finger. But the eyes were still sharp, still capable of figuring things out. I needed help, but I couldn't let Jason know I was suspicious. If I confronted him now, he'd just accelerate whatever plan he had. I needed evidence. I needed someone on my side. I called my old friend Ray Martinez. We'd worked together for 20 years before he retired and moved to Tacoma. Ray was a skeptical bastard, which right now was exactly what I needed. David, how are you holding up? His voice was warm, familiar. Ray, I need your advice. Something's not right. I told him everything. Robert Chen's call, Marcus's pressure tactics, Jason's fake phone calls, the pre-checked forms. Ray was quiet for a long moment. Jesus, David, that's elder financial abuse. Textbook pattern. They're gaslighting you, building a false narrative of incompetence. Once they get you declared unable to manage your affairs, they can drain everything. How much we talking? About $1 million. Total. Christ. Okay, listen to me. First, don't sign anything. Second, you need a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Someone who specializes in elder law and financial exploitation. Third, document everything. Every conversation, every visit, every pressure tactic. Get a notebook, write it all down with dates and times. Fourth, lock down your accounts right now. Call your bank. Put alerts on everything. Change your passwords. Can you do that? Yeah, I can do that. And David, play along with them. Act like you're considering it. If they think you're onto them, they'll change tactics, make it harder to catch them. But meanwhile, build your case. You're an engineer. Treat this like a technical problem. Gather data, analyze it, find the solution. That actually helped. Treating it like an engineering problem. I could do that. The next morning, I called my bank. I need to put fraud alerts on all my accounts. And I need to know, has anyone been asking about my accounts? Running credit checks? The bank representative checked. Mr. Harrison, there have been 2 credit inquiries on your name in the past 2 weeks. One from Northwest Credit Services, one from Cascade Investment Group. And someone called last week asking about your account balances, claiming to be your son. We didn't give out information without verification, but yes, there have been inquiries. My stomach dropped. I didn't authorize any of that. I'll flag everything immediately, sir. Would you like to set up 2-factor authentication? Require in-person verification for any major transactions? Yes, all of it. Everything you've got. Then I called Robert Chen back. The number was in my call history. He picked up on the second ring. Mr. Harrison, you said Marcus Webb isn't who he says he is. Tell me what you know. Robert Chen had been one of Marcus's victims 2 years ago. Marcus had convinced him to move his retirement funds into high-yield investments that turned out to be nearly empty shell companies. By the time Robert figured it out, he'd lost over $200,000. Marcus had disappeared, only to resurface under a slightly different name in a different city. Robert had been trying to track him ever since, warning other potential victims. He works with family members, Robert explained. Usually a son or daughter who's in financial trouble. They identify elderly targets. Recent widows or widowers are perfect, vulnerable, grieving, maybe a little cognitively slower just from the stress and sadness. The family member makes the introduction, vouches for Marcus. Then they work together. Gaslighting, pressure tactics, fake medical concerns. The goal is to get power of attorney or conservatorship. Once they have that, they drain the accounts. By the time anyone notices, they're gone. How do I stop them? Evidence. Documentation. Report it to Adult Protective Services and the police. But Marcus is slippery. He's never been successfully prosecuted because by the time victims realize what's happening, the money's gone and there's no clear paper trail. He's good at covering his tracks. You need to catch them in the act. I spent the next 2 days preparing. I called Patricia Vance, an elder law attorney Ray recommended. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, and immediately understood the situation. Mr. Harrison, what they're doing is illegal. Financial exploitation of an elderly person, possibly conspiracy to commit fraud, potentially attempted conservatorship fraud. But we need evidence. Recordings if possible. Oregon is a one-party consent state, so you can legally record conversations you're part of. Document everything. And we need to catch them making explicit statements about their intentions. How? She smiled. Let them think they're winning. Tell them you're ready to sign the power of attorney. Set up a meeting. I'll be there. Hidden. We'll record everything. If they're as aggressive as you say, they'll incriminate themselves. Meanwhile, I'm filing a restraining order on your assets. Nothing can be moved or changed without court approval. And I'm notifying Adult Protective Services. They'll investigate. That afternoon, Jason called. Hey, Dad. Marcus was hoping to come by tomorrow. Get those papers finalized. Are you feeling up to it? I made my voice tired, uncertain. I suppose so. I've been thinking about what you said. About being protected. Maybe you're right. Maybe I do need help managing things. That's great, Dad. Really smart. We'll come by around 10? 10 is fine. After we hung up, I sat there feeling cold. This was my son, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, helped with homework, walked down the aisle at his wedding, and he was stealing from me. No, I couldn't think like that yet. Not until I had proof. Maybe there was some explanation. Maybe Marcus was manipulating Jason too. But I didn't really believe that. The next morning, I prepared. Patricia had given me a small recording device that looked like a pen. "Keep it in your shirt pocket," she said. "It'll pick up everything." She was in my bedroom with a detective from the Portland Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit, Detective Sarah Kim. They could hear everything through a radio link. At exactly 10, Jason and Marcus arrived. "Morning, Dad." Jason was cheerful, carrying coffee and pastries from the bakery Sarah used to love. That detail hurt. He'd remembered that. Thought we'd make this nice. "Get everything sorted out so you can stop worrying." Marcus sat up at the kitchen table again, pulling papers from his portfolio. "Mr. Harrison, I'm so glad you're ready to move forward with this. It's really the responsible choice. Now, I've prepared a complete financial power of attorney. This gives Jason authority to manage your accounts, pay bills, handle investments, all of that. It's immediate and durable, meaning it stays in effect even if you become incapacitated." "Even if I become incapacitated?" "Yes, sir. That's the beauty of it. You won't have to worry about anything. Jason will handle everything." I looked at the document. It was dense with legal language. I should probably have my lawyer look at this first. Jason and Marcus exchanged a glance. Then Jason leaned forward. "Dad, we've been over this. This is standard. Every attorney would recommend it. Why waste money on legal fees when Marcus has already prepared everything? I just think..." "Dad." Jason's voice got firmer. "I'm going to be honest with you. Emily and I are worried. You're not yourself since Mom died. You're forgetting things, getting confused. Yesterday you told me you hadn't eaten lunch, but there was a sandwich wrapper in the trash. You're not managing well on your own." "I'm managing fine." "Are you?" "Because Marcus ran a credit check." "You ran a credit check on me?" Marcus jumped in smoothly. "Just a preliminary financial assessment, Mr. Harrison. Standard procedure. And frankly, there are some concerns. Your credit score has dropped. There are some irregular patterns in your account activity. Small charges you probably don't remember making." That was a lie. I'd checked my accounts meticulously. Everything was normal. "What charges?" "Well, for instance, $300 at an online casino last week." "I don't gamble online. I've never been to an online casino." Jason shook his head sadly. "Dad, you probably don't remember. That's what we're trying to tell you. You need help. Show me. Show me this charge." Marcus hesitated. "I don't have the detailed records with me, but..." "Then how do you know about it?" "Mr. Harrison, please try to stay calm. Getting agitated isn't helping anything. This is exactly the kind of confusion we're concerned about." I forced myself to breathe slowly. "To keep my voice level, I want to see documentation. Of these charges you say I'm making, of my credit score drop. Show me the evidence." Marcus's friendly mask slipped a little. "Sir, I'm trying to help you. Your son is trying to help you. But you have to trust us. We have your best interests at heart. Then you won't mind if my attorney reviews these documents." "Dad," Jason stood up, "stop being so stubborn. This is for your own good. You're not thinking clearly. Marcus and I have been talking, and we think you might need more support than we can give you at home." "What does that mean?" "There are excellent memory care facilities in the area. Places where they can monitor you, make sure you're taking your medications, make sure you're safe." And there it was, the real plan. Get power of attorney, declare me incompetent, put me in a facility, liquidate my assets. "I'm not going into a home," I said quietly. Jason's face hardened. "It might not be your choice, Dad. If you're not capable of making sound decisions, if you're a danger to yourself, the court can appoint a conservator. For your own protection, is that a threat? It's reality. Marcus has been documenting your decline. The missed medications, the confusion, the forgetfulness. We have evidence, and if you won't cooperate voluntarily, We'll do what we have to do. I'm not going to let you hurt yourself, Marcus added. Mr. Harrison, we already have most of the paperwork prepared for a conservatorship petition. We'd prefer not to go that route. It's expensive, time-consuming, stressful for everyone. But if you force our hand... You've already prepared conservatorship papers? My voice sounded hollow. Before even talking to me about it? It's just being prepared, Jason said. Look, Dad, I know this is hard, but Mom would want me to take care of you. This is me taking care of you. Don't bring your mother into this, I wanted to scream. Sarah would be horrified. Instead, I said, I need to use the bathroom. Excuse me. I stood up slowly, like I was dizzy, shuffled toward the bedroom. I could hear them talking in low voices as I left. In the bedroom, Patricia and Detective Kim were ready. Patricia whispered, We've got enough. Threats, coercion, admission of pre-filed paperwork. That's financial exploitation and attempted fraud right there. Detective Kim nodded. We're coming in. Stay calm. This is over. We walked back to the kitchen. Jason looked up, annoyed. Dad, we need to finish. Jason, Marcus, I'd like you to meet Detective Kim from the Portland Police Department. Jason went white. Marcus started gathering his papers. Nobody move, Detective Kim said calmly, showing her badge. Gentlemen, we need to talk about some very serious allegations. Attempted financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Identity theft. Mr. Harrison has been recording this entire conversation, and we've heard enough to bring charges. This is insane, Jason said. Dad, what are you doing? We're trying to help you. You were trying to steal from me, I said. My voice shook. You fabricated evidence of cognitive decline. You ran unauthorized credit checks. You made fake phone calls to make me think I was confused. You conspired to put me in a home and drain my accounts. That's not we were protecting you. Mr. Webb, Detective Kim said, we've been investigating you. Your real name is Marcus Weber. You have 3 prior allegations of elder financial fraud in Washington and California. You've been operating under various names for 5 years. And Mr. Jason Harrison, you've been in financial trouble for over a year. Substantial gambling debts, failed business ventures. You saw your father as an easy target. I'm his son. I have a right to... You have no right to defraud your father, Patricia said coldly. I'm Mr. Harrison's attorney. We've documented everything. The coercion, the forged evidence, the threats. We've also frozen all of Mr. Harrison's assets. You can't touch a penny. And we're filing for a restraining order. You're not to contact Mr. Harrison or come within 500 feet of his property. Marcus tried to run. He actually tried to bolt for the door, but 2 uniformed officers were waiting outside. They arrested him right there in my driveway. Handcuffs, Miranda rights, the whole thing. Jason just sat at my kitchen table, head in his hands. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was desperate. The debts, I didn't know what else to do. Marcus said it would be easy, that we'd just borrow some money, pay it back later. It wasn't supposed to be like this. You were going to put me in a home, Jason. You were going to take everything your mother and I worked for, everything we'd saved for our grandchildren's education, for emergencies, for our final years. You were going to steal it. I was going to pay it back. With what? You don't have anything. You're $50,000 in debt. You were going to steal my retirement and leave me with nothing. Detective Kim was putting handcuffs on him. Jason Harrison, you're under arrest for attempted financial exploitation, conspiracy to commit fraud, and identity theft. Dad, please, don't let them do this. I'm your son. I looked at him. This man who looked like the boy I'd raised, but was a stranger. You stopped being my son when you decided I was worth more to you as a victim than a father. They took him away. Patricia and Detective Kim stayed for another hour, going through everything, making sure all the evidence was documented properly. Sarah Kim explained that Adult Protective Services would follow up, that there would be a court case, that both Jason and Marcus were facing serious charges. 3 to 7 years in prison was likely. After they left, I sat alone in my kitchen. The coffee Jason had brought was still on the table, cold now, the pastries untouched. I picked up the bag and threw it all in the trash. Then I did something I hadn't done since Sarah's funeral. I cried. Not quiet tears, but huge, body-shaking sobs. For the son I'd thought I had. For the trust that was broken. For having to choose between protecting myself and protecting him. For the fact that Sarah wasn't here to tell me what to do, how to fix this. But eventually, the tears stopped. And I was still here, still in my house, still in control of my life and my assets. Still capable, still sharp, still myself. Ray called that evening. I heard, "Are you okay?" "I don't know. I will be, eventually." "You did the right thing, David." "Did I?" "That was my son, Sarah's son. That was a criminal who happened to be your son. There's a difference. You protected yourself. That took courage." Over the next few weeks, I started putting my life back together properly. I got a proper financial advisor, one Patricia vetted thoroughly. I updated my will, my power of attorney, giving it to Ray, who I actually trusted, my healthcare directive. I put the house in an irrevocable trust. I installed security cameras. I changed all my passwords and set up two-factor authentication on everything. I also joined a support group for elder abuse survivors. Turns out, I wasn't alone. There were dozens of people in the Portland area who'd been through similar things. Some had lost everything. Others had caught it in time, like me. We shared stories, advice, warning signs to watch for. I learned that what Jason and Marcus did was textbook financial exploitation. The isolation, the gaslighting, the fake evidence of incompetence, the rushed paperwork, the threats of conservatorship, every single tactic was straight out of the scam playbook. I also learned the warning signs I should have caught earlier. Sudden, unusual interest in finances. Pressure to sign documents quickly. Attempts to isolate from other family or friends. Accusations of confusion or incompetence. Forged or suspicious documents. Unexpected credit inquiries or account changes. Pushing for power of attorney or conservatorship before it's needed. If I'd known those signs, maybe I would have realized what was happening sooner. But grief makes you vulnerable. It clouds your judgment. You want to believe your family has your back. Jason and Marcus both pleaded guilty eventually. Jason got 4 years in prison with possibility of parole after 2. Marcus got 7 years. The prosecutor said I was lucky. I'd caught them before they'd actually stolen anything, so the charges and sentences were lighter than they could have been. Emily came to see me once, about a month later. She was leaving Jason, filing for divorce. She claimed she hadn't known what he was planning. I wanted to believe her, but Patricia advised me to maintain distance. She could be an accomplice, or she could be another victim. Either way, better to be cautious. I told Emily I understood, but I needed space. She cried, apologized, said she'd always considered me family. I said I'd always care about her, but I couldn't trust anyone right now. She nodded and left. I haven't heard from her since. My daughter-in-law's parents reached out, apologizing for Jason, offering support. That was kind, but I kept them at arm's length too. I'd learned the hard way that family connections don't automatically mean safety. Now, 6 months later, I'm doing okay. The house is quieter than I'd like. I miss Sarah every single day. I miss the son I thought I had. But I'm not a victim. I protected myself. I fought back. I won. I'm 68 years old, and I'm not old. I'm not declining. I'm not confused or incompetent. I'm sharp, capable, and damn careful about who I trust. To anyone watching this who has elderly parents, or who is elderly themselves, learn the warning signs of financial exploitation. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let anyone rush you into signing anything. Get independent legal advice. Tell someone outside the situation what's happening. And remember, age is not incompetence. Being in your 60s, 70s, 80s does not make you incapable. Don't let anyone treat you like you are. Protect yourself. Document everything. And if someone you love is trying to exploit you, remember, protecting yourself isn't betraying them. They already betrayed you. I still drive past Jason's house sometimes. I don't stop. I don't slow down. But I see it, and I remember what I almost lost. Then I go home to my house, my life, my independence, the things Sarah and I built together, the things I protected. And I'm grateful. Grateful for Robert Chen's warning call. Grateful for Ray's advice. Grateful for Patricia and Detective Kim. Grateful that I'm an engineer who learned to check the calculations before trusting the results. If you found this story helpful, share it. Someone else might need to hear it. Someone else might be going through this right now, doubting themselves, wondering if they're being paranoid or difficult. They're not. They're protecting themselves. And that's not just okay. That's necessary. That's survival. Thanks for watching. And remember, stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and never let anyone make you feel like being careful is the same as being paranoid. In this world, sometimes the people closest to you are the ones you need to be most careful around. See you in the next one.